Hello, way back there guys. I have a humongous box, and today we're checking out the Alfawise U10 3D printer. Welcome back guys. So I had to put on the big lens for this because this box takes up, almost half of my table here. So I really had to throw on the wide angle lens for this just in order to capture all of this. This thing is massive. This is the Alfawise U10 sent to me by GearBest. This is probably the largest printer I've ever received. I believe this one is like 400 by 400 by 500 millimeters in build size. Like, it's huge. I'm pretty sure it's what this is inside of here. So let's just open it up and see how it is. I can stand up, you can still see me, so that's good. All right, right on the top here, we have a massive, with a lot of cutouts in here, this foam. This is the open cell foam. This is a good almost 3 inches thick on top, so that's really cool to see. It's super well packaged, I'll give it that. And then we have the printer here inside, picking up some. So here's part of it in there. You can kind of see the control box down at the bottom there. And we have the gantry. So this is coming together. It looks like it's sent just like the CR10 variant printers are, as they're sent in 2 pieces. So we have another very large cutout here to take out. And then we have, it looks like a full color manual here. We have some masking tape, El Cheapo stuff. We have the USB cable, a very small thing of PLA. This is what usually you get when you get a 3D printing pen. That's what they sent here with this. A US power plug, and a bag of accessories to include SD card, reader, there's a screwdriver, a pair of snips. There's some hardware in here to mount it. There's Allen wrenches, screws, SD card, all kinds of goodies inside that little bag. And now we have the printer. So let's pull out, make sure. And then here's the cutout, what would be a spool of filament. They don't have any in here, so that's a bummer. Let's get this up and out. All right, so here is our Z Gantry, which I already know there is an issue with this because the one side here is not attached and actually punctured a hole out of the box right here. That's where the lead screw came out. So hopefully it's all still okay, and we have the white racing stripes on that. Put this down. Holy heck, this is humongous. This really is. Let's get out the control box, which is rather compact. Another huge thing of foam here. And then, oh, we're getting close. So we have a lot more foam here to take out. Oh, and here we have the Y gantry coming out. Oh man, this is big and heavy. And then, again, copious amounts of foam in this thing, huge. So they did a pretty good job of packing this. We're going to gently do that, I guess. And then we'll set this down now. Okay, as you can see on here, there's an Alfawise 3D test printed on there. It looks to be about maybe 3 layers thick, 3 layers high. All right, now we have this out of the box. We can be more intimate, bring you guys in. All right, so now we're a little bit closer here. We can kind of just see the sheer size of this printer. The gantry is huge. And here we have the Z Gantry. Again, huge here. And it will sit like that. And a very interesting DB15 connection here for the extruder and the hot end. Instead of being like the CR10 has those 2 kind of cannon plug style ones, they have that. The heated bed is using an XT60 connector. It's hard to see, but man, that is awesome. That is, hopefully it's decent quality, but that is really what should be used on a lot of these. A good quality XT60 connector that you can connect well. Again, the little tiny control box here, and on here is the spool holder, I think. It holds the spools sideways on there. Let's get out the book. Hopefully you can see me through this. There's gonna be a little window here. And let's see what the book is talking about. Yeah, so this is 400 by 400 by 500. So this is the size of the CR10 S4. So it is a rather large printer. And I am noticing they do have a spring clip here on the Y. Don't really like that. Those spring clips really add a lot of flexibility to the belts. They don't really keep them that tight. So we'll see what we end up doing with that. And yeah, so it tells us to check out the power supply is set to, right now we're set to 220 volts, which is fine. I'm going to plug this into 220. Yeah, that's the closest one I have to me right now. And it's telling us here we're using the M5 by 25 millimeter screws to hold the gantry up. Yeah, all right, so let's get here in the bag, get this thing put together. I really want to see what this print's like. So we have, like I said, a Phillips head screwdriver, a nice little handle on it. It's cheap, but kind of nice. And here are the T-brackets that they go on the gantry. The clips for glass. I guess there's glass underneath this, which is pretty weird. Okay. Some tools, spatula, another pair of side cutters. Can't go wrong with those. USB to SD adapter, a standard unmarked SD card, and then here we have the screws. And these are actually Phillips head screws, which is pretty surprising because almost everything uses the socket heads, you know, or they're socket cap screws. This one's not. So let's, there's a lot of grease on this. And there's also a fair bit of strings here from something. So it's a little dirty. A little dirtier than I was hoping it was going to be. All right, so those 4 M5 by 25s are in. Now we're going to get the T-brackets, which are really thin. I was kind of expecting them to be a little thicker. You know, at least a few millimeters. Maybe are 2 millimeter thick. They're not thick at all. But we have the 2 T-brackets, which get installed right here at the bottom, where the Z and the Y gantry come together. They just kind of pop in there and then tighten them down. All right, gantry is installed. That was easy peasy. And now we're going to connect the actual control box here. So they tell you all the different connections here, what to connect to. Everything's labeled, which is really nice that they do that on a lot of these printers now, instead of you kind of guessing on both sides. So even the most, you know, novice user can hopefully figure it out. It is also interesting that there's another DB, what did I say, 15 connection right here on the box that this thing connects to. It's not like this doesn't like plug into the box, which I think would make a little more sense instead of having this big clunkiness out here. But hey, what do I know? I mean, these control boxes are, I hate them anyways. So, okay, so there's that one. And let me just get the rest of these hooked up super quick. And we should be in business here very shortly. We've got heated bed. And then here's the thermistor. A nice connection. We have the Y and Y. Y's back here. X and not, I'm guessing that's extruder. Extrude. There's that. And oh, the X end stop is on here, but it's not tightened all the way. I might need to tighten that up. Whatever, that's instructions. So we have Z here. There's the Z end stop. Click, click. Put you down the way. I'm going to guess this is the extruder since nothing else was labeled extruder. And here we have the other Z motor way over here. Get this up on here all the way. Oop. Holy smoking joes. Here we go. Got protective film on the screen, get rid of that. And what is next? Kind of identifies all the different parts for you, what it is in case you don't know. Tension the X belt and the Y belt. Walks you through the screen. Let's see. Oh, they tell you how to adjust your two Z screws, make sure they're the same. But before I do any of that, I need to reattach the, well for you, left side lead screw because it totally came out. That's too big. That one's tight. Okay, so, and then I see that the Bowden tube here is not connected. So we will connect it maybe? Yeah. Oh, it's got this metal extruder on here, which I am not a fan of this on other printers. There is a runout sensor here on the back. We have all the cabling here now. All right, so let me find a rectangular object. Let's do this box. And we will get this lined up. Man, this thing is such a massive printer. Ooh. That should be it right there. Okay. We'll need some filament here in a second. Let me find some. That didn't work. Some white. I was going to use this Repco roll, but when you set it down, it hits all the way down. But here's a roll of Fugatech. which does spin on there. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to look inside of here. So I saw the same printer 3D Maker Noob got, and he had some pretty shoddy connections inside of his. So I would like to make sure that my power supply is not crimped like his was. It was the first time I actually seen this printer was on his channel, and it came up as a possibility for me through GearBest, so I jumped on it, seeing the size of it. It was just insane. Oh, this is nice that it's non-integrated 4988 drivers, A4988 drivers. There is a possibility for a second extruder. There's a possibility for a second extruder on this board. They all have heat sinks on them, which is nice. There is one 40 miller fan here on the back of the control box to cool it. There is a relay here for something. Not quite sure what that one's for. Unless maybe that's part of the power outage deal, because it looks like there's a battery here in the back of it. It might be what that is. But we shall find out. Let's get this closed back up, because it looks like all the cables look to be okay. So maybe the quality control has gone up a little bit since he got his. Although this has probably been in GearBest's warehouse for who knows how long. So it's kind of hard to say what it is. Okay, so everything in there looks pretty good. We made sure that both of our Z rods are the same. And now we're going to go ahead and level the bed. Prepare auto home, prepare Z home. Extrude move towards the hotbed. Okay, we're gonna have to clean off this print first. Anyways, let's get some power to this sucker and see what ends up happening. There we go. I didn't plug the thing in all the way. Got scared there for a quick second. Alfawise 3D printer AU. So it's the, or say the U10. So the U10 is ready. This fan back here is rather loud. You guys can hear that. It's interesting. So there's SD inserts here to the front, and then here on the side there's the USB, and then there's a power hookup. As if you were going to use a laptop style power supply on there. Power, auto home. Alright, so we're home X. That worked. Y. Worked, and now we're going to Z. So this first print is interesting they do that. They do it on masking tape though. If you guys know me, I hardly ever print on tape. This does lift off rather easily. So if I don't screw up the tape, I'll leave it on there for now. See, because it's thin and black on my crazy background. I do apologize if this fan is that loud. See what I can do after when I edit, see if I can kind of eliminate it, but I'm sorry about that. It is just really, really loud. It's pulling air in, not exhausting it, so that's another interesting fact. All right, so we're gonna need a piece of paper. What is this here? This should work. Yep. So then, this has some fairly small, oh geez, those are even hard to get to. The bed is so massive. It's all the way in. Okay, now we go here to prepare, preheat PLA, preheat PLA. And we're heating up. Once we heat up, I will come back, and I think we're gonna go ahead and do a test print off the SD card. Yeah, we're gonna test the print, so I'll be right back. The bed takes forever to heat up. Oh my God. Yeah, it's taking a long time. We're at 39 degrees now. Woo! Getting there. Only going to 50, so I'm not gonna go that high. All right, so here we are about almost 15 minutes later. The bed is finally up to 50 degrees. It is super duper slow because it is a massive, massive bed with no insulation. It's not even that cold here in my basement, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, so now we're gonna see what it is here for, so load SD card. Okay, won't go into any of that. So I'm going to pull this into my computer and pull that out of the folder that it's in because it won't let me access it for some reason. Okay, so there's 3 G-code files on here and there are several STLs in there. So we're gonna do print from SD card. Here we go. So we're gonna do the Baymax.G code. See how that goes. 200, 250. Bed done. And we're moving. Let's see how this turns out. Okay, so the first print is done. Now, this is actually not a stock print off the printer because when the print starts, it runs through its beginning and it's using Cura, so Cura like goes to the middle of the bed and lifts up and then drops back down. So it was doing that, but it wasn't going back down all the way. I was honestly like maybe 2 to 3 millimeters off the bed. I couldn't figure out why, so I went here through the software on the, well, we should go in here through the firmware, and there was a negative 1 millimeter offset. Odd. Changed that to 0, save settings, restarted the print again, same deal. I tried a different test file off of here, same thing again. Odd as well. So I was like, okay, well, let me slice my own. So I went ahead, Simplify 3D, created a scratch profile from nothing, just made one up from what I thought the settings should be. And I did forget to change the retraction settings, so this is actually using direct drive 1 millimeter retractions instead of using a Bowden like a 4, 5, or 6 millimeter retraction. So I damn are having retraction issues on this. But again, it did the same thing. It did my start code, which is draw a line up, draw a line back down, raise up, go back down, make sure nozzle nice and clean, go to the center of the bed and start printing. Again, still stayed up off the bed quite a bit. I don't know if that's because I did print this with a raft and maybe my raft settings are off and maybe their raft settings were off. I'm unsure at this moment, but I will have to do some more deep dive into it. I did just join the Facebook group. No one has Simplify 3D profile out there yet, so I'll need to kind of dig into the firmware and see where the problem is actually at. But I'm very happy with this first print aside from the retraction. Walls are smooth. Again, there is some ghosting across here, so I will need to update the acceleration and jerk settings to kind of get those out. But overall, for a first print right off of this, not too shabby at all. So again, I want to reiterate, this is a humongous printer. This is 400 by 400 by 500 millimeters. I can print some humongous things on this, so it should be pretty fun. I mean, it's the largest printer I have in the fleet now. I have 2 CR10s, or CR10S and a CR10, both 300 by 300 by 400, and the FT5, same build volume as that. So again, this is just a humongous printer. It does look like they're using like half of what the hot end is that Creality is using, except it's way shorter. I want to say almost a third of the way shorter of a cold end that they're using on here, and then they're using the same MK9 heater and nozzle on here. So it's pretty standard across the board. As you can hear now, you can hear me very well. This box is ridiculously loud. The 30 or 40 millimeter fan here in the back, crazy loud. Is going to be the first thing I need to swap out on this because it's just so loud. Otherwise, I mean, again, I just did one simple print just to see if it worked. It does. It works rather well. There's no under extrusion, so I think I have the extrusion multiplier set correctly. I'm excited for this. This will be fun to kind of play around with and see how it ends up working out. And we'll go from there. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this useful. Again, I don't know if you should get this or not. I'm gonna definitely do a lot of testing on this. So I thank you guys so much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up if you found it useful at all. Thumbs down if you didn't. And you know, of course, leave me a comment either way. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, make sure you're a subscriber and hit that bell icon if you want an email notification anytime I upload new content. If you guys want to do me financially, right down below me is a Patreon link. If you want to donate a one-time deal, down in the video description there's going to be a Streamlabs or buy me a coffee. I'm saving up right now for a Persa i3 MK3. That should be fun. And if you guys want to help me out by just doing some daily shopping, using my affiliate links down below, a little slice of what you buy comes my way. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, happy printing.